Well, hey everybody, and welcome to the Pixar Post YouTube Live Hangout, where we're going to talk about the brand new, dropped today, March 19th, Toy Story 4. And yep, time to mute, Dan.
Sorry. We're good.
It wouldn't be a hangout if we didn't have something crazy going on as well. But yeah, so we're going to talk about the brand new Toy Story 4 trailer that dropped today in its entirety. We're going to talk about the song that was associated with it, the Beach Boys song. We're going to talk about the visual elements we liked.
The characters.
The characters. She's already got a shirt with Benson. I don't believe that they would all be named Benson. I think it's probably the dude with the red tie specifically, but we'll talk about all that.
I love them. I don't care. I love them.
Oh, God, they're so creepy, but they're awesome. We're going to talk about some Easter eggs. We're going to talk about the story. And, of course, before we get started, we just need to do a quick introduction as far as who's with us. In case you're just happen to be joining us for the very first time, I'm TJ.
I'm Julie.
And we've got some other guests. I'm going to flip it over to Mr. Giovanni. So hello, Giovanni.
Hello.
And you are, go ahead, yeah.
Oh, no, hey, it's me, Giovanni. I've been here before sometime, so it's always good to be back. I was ready for this trailer, super stoked. I know I've been waiting for it, so it's nice to be here. But yeah.
Yep, and Giovanni, just so anybody knows, he's an animation...
He's an animator.
Well, I was going to say an animation expert, but, you know, animator will work as well. So I don't know if you would like to share anything about where people could find your work, but feel free if you'd like.
Yeah, no, I work on the Netflix show Ask the Storybot, so I'm an animator on that.
An Annie Award-winning show.
Yeah, it's a very fun one. So yeah, love animation. So of course Pixar, it was what kicked me off of that love. So yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, and then just so it's been a while since you've been on, so just before we jump over to Dan and then dive into the news, so Giovanni, we happened to bump into him the very first time at the Monsters University college tour that was out there early. So that was like April 2013.
Yeah.
And then we just kept running into him everywhere at the Disney store and everywhere else. So we're like, all right, we're just gonna have to be friends with this guy.
Oh my God, destiny at this point.
Yeah. But all right, so the next one to join us, you've already had people asking for you, Dan. It's Dan, the Pixar fan. Welcome, Dan.
Hello, everybody. I am not an animator, but I am a fan of animation, a Pixar fan specifically, of course. Dan, the Pixar fan. I guess if you've never been on here before, I run the site danthepixarfan.com. I do Pixar merchandise reviews and talk all Pixar, and that's what we're going to do right now.
Fantastic, fantastic. So let's open this thing by talking about just our overall thoughts of the trailer, and we'll go ladies first here. What did you think when you watched the first 2 minutes, and how long is this, 20-something seconds?
Yeah, holy moly. Okay, first off, I was surprised. I felt like weird emotions for these new characters. Obviously, I've already made a shirt from some of the characters because I thought they were so weird and I loved them. I was shocked. I was surprised. I was emotional. I'm like so excited. I know we say that about a lot of Pixar films, but this one, like, I'm super like, what? Every time like a next scene would happen, I'm like, what? It had me keep going like, what?
So yeah, so we're going to talk all about those whats and go through some of those story elements.
And Bo, and she's like so like on her own. She's very much like an independent like toy now. Yeah. It's like, what?
Not only the independent toy, but we saw some flashback or I don't know, maybe futuristic versions of Bo Peep and her outfit. Back in more of the classic look.
And then Bonnie, I feel like Bonnie might be like a little bit of a loner.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
And I was like, oh, it kind of made me feel for her.
Yeah.
Because I was a loner kid. So.
Well, let's also just real quickly say hi to some folks in the chat as well. We're going to be taking anybody's comments, well, at least as many as we can. Sometimes they get going pretty quick. But if you have any comments and you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to leave them right in there. So the Adventures of Jim Jaden, hello, Kevin97, Cosmo, and Vector Forever, Starlight, Glimmer Earl, Riley Wheeler, Mr. PD Dispost, Kendallberry, Francisco, hello everybody. So we'll be sure to say hey to, and Eric W watching from our hometown here. So just wanted to throw that out there. And it's E-Wolf, just wanted to say hello as well. So welcome everybody. As we're talking, Pixar Superfan, hello. Of course we got to mention you. As we're talking, if you have anything, again, bring it up in the chat. Questions, we'll try to talk about them here. We'll kind of go through the trailer and of course, highlight and share back and forth some visual images as well. But how about we bounce over to Dan? What were your thoughts overall on the trailer?
Oh, that's so broad.
It's broad right now.
We usually get first impressions.
I know.
It doesn't have to be into it.
I should have been ready for this though. I loved it. I mean, that's my first impression. I do get worried because I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't always love Pixar trailers. I always love Pixar films. They always knock it out of the park, but the trailers are always a little underwhelming for me. They don't usually capture like the heart and the emotion of the film. This one, I feel like did. I feel
interesting.
Like this one, I felt like it definitely hit on kind of the feels that were going to be. I don't think it really scratched the surface too much as far as the feels, but it touched on them. I feel like it was edited nicely. I like the flow. So I thought it was a really good Pixar trailer, one of the better ones I've seen. It really had everything I wanted. It gave away a bit so I can have a where the heck this thing is going, because I've been wondering for long. We've known only really fragments of story. We still, even with the trailer, we still don't have a full picture, but it gave me enough to be satisfied until I can see the movie without giving too much away. That's kind of how I felt. And of course, we're going to dive deeper into it, but I loved it.
Okay, fantastic. And I like to hear that because like you said, I think all of us, we're a little more critical than the average person with a trailer just because we get into it so much. So I'm going to also get Giovanni's first impressions. But also one of the questions that came up here from Map Zero, Giovanni, as you're giving your overall thoughts, do you think the trailer gave away too much detail?
No, I don't think it gave away too much. I think it gave away just enough to keep people, get people really excited. His first impression, I thought it was a great route to go. I thought that we had the two trailers before. We had a nice introduction one. We had the nice comical Ducky and Bunny one, and this was the one basically to set the standard, just Pixar being like, in case you forgot, it's our job to make you cry. So here's one of these. So I thought that was really well done. I'm glad with how much they show. I feel like they showed a lot. Yes, we saw a lot of locations. We saw, a lot of, like I said, time jumps. So we've seen a lot of different areas in the movie, I feel like. But plot-wise, I feel like it's still very slim. I still like it was a lot of, this could happen. I feel like Woody, even throughout the trailer, is kind of saying one thing and then his ideas changing later down the trailer. So really, it was all over the place in a good way to really keep you excited and, wondering what's next. So I loved it.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know more than when I went into the trailer. I feel like I knew basically what the plot synopsis said. And I feel like I still don't know where this thing is going, where it's going to end. And that was the discussion at my house. We went back and forth with everybody. Everyone has a different idea of where this could go. So I really feel like it didn't give away too much, but I will say that I don't want to see any more. I'm good.
Interesting. So if they release another trailer, are you going to watch it?
The last few times they've done that, I actually skipped out, if you remember.
Yeah, you have. I was surprised you watched this one.
Yeah, well, this is the first one.
Oh, that's the truth. That's
you're a tough man, Dan. I could not do that.
No way.
Especially the international ones, you got to watch out for because they usually really give away too much. But I think I'm satisfied for now. I'm all in regardless. I just don't want to. I feel like this movie has so much up its sleeve that we don't know about. They've kept it so secret for so long that I just want to go in kind of knowing as little as possible, just not any more than I do now. That's just
wow. Me. All right. So, so Dan and Giovanni, you had similar thoughts as far as it not giving away too much. I agree, because that question was out there.
It showcased a lot of characters.
Sure.
So we know all the characters that are with Bonnie.
Yep.
It really focused on Forky and Woody. I feel like there's so much meat we're not even getting to yet.
Well, I feel like the whole thing, yes, we're not getting there. I'll touch on one thing before I give my overall thoughts on it. But I feel like, yeah, there's a lot of Woody and Forky, because I feel like, and I told this to Julie earlier, that Forky was designed in a way to literally just be, to help Woody on his arc in this movie, because I feel like it's going to be so different. I feel like it's like they needed a character that wasn't going to be a standard thing that he could try to do and say all these weird things about, like, what is life if you're not a toy? What is this? What is this? What is this? What is this? So I feel like there's going to be a whole bunch more with Woody. We'll talk more about that. But
I like how Forky, like, he's never been like alive. So he's like playing with his hands and not listening to Woody and stuff. I just like that he doesn't even know what being alive is. So he's just kind of
like, why am I alive?
Well, he's kind of experiencing it for himself for the first time, but like, do I want to be alive? Is this a good thing? Or do I just want to be used to eat maybe chili?
Yeah. Oh, so great. Sometimes chili. All right. So here were my initial thoughts. The introduction of it, like the very beginning of it, I thought was very fast cutting. So like, that was the first thing I was like, wow, the pace of this is kind of opposite a little bit from, it's really slow as far as like, here's the introduction of Forky. He's not even a toy, but yet all of a sudden it's like fade in, fade out, fade in, fade out.
Okay, so I like that too, but I thought it mirrored Forky's like
tenseness.
His like anxiety ridden self. I felt like all those quick cuts. It matched like the anxiety of the character.
For sure. The other thing that I pulled away from it, super intense, the movie, like that there's going to be a lot of those, it's going to be a lot of high highs and low lows. I don't feel like there's going to be this whole, like, there'll be a middle ground at the beginning. And then after that, it's going to be like, ping, 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 ping. And I think that that is kind of mirrored in two ways for me. The things that I highlighted for the high, high and the low, low, the intensity of Benson, the dummies, the ventriloquist dummies, it is the intensity factor, highness. But then from the low, low, I'm going to kind of springboard this into our next area. We're going to talk about the music. So the Beach Boys, God only knows. So I've got more information about that one, but holy cow, that was an intense song. So it's just as a little bit of background as well. I figure we'll throw in some just general information too.
By the Beach Boys, 1966, off the album Pet Sounds.
It was the B-side on the single. No, but it was written by Brian Wilson and Tony Asher, who is actually a jingle writer. God Only Knows is a song about moving forward after loss. So they usually tie some things in. You know, there's More Than a Feeling when they did that for Inside Out. And then they had the Aerosmith one that they also did, Sweet Emotions.
Well, so they all the song for the teaser. I'm trying
the Judy Collins song.
Yeah, even that hinted at some melancholiness of the movie.
Yeah, and then we've obviously seen the posters, which are that brown background where it's just, you know, Woody silhouetted, kind of tipping his hat. Yeah. So so then it's a song about moving forward. In an interview, Brian Wilson says there was a vision that Tony and I had. It's like it's a feeling like being blind, but in being blind, you can see more. You close your eyes, you're able to see a place or something that's happening. So let's talk about the music itself. What did everybody think? It sounds like we're all kind of on the same page that was like a really heavy song, but a cool song to sell the weight of what could be really intense emotions in the movie.
Well, I liked it, but it's funny because the first thing I thought of was 50 First Dates.
Oh, you're right.
Because it's in that movie, and
she does more of Wouldn't It Be Nice?
Oh, that's true. No, but it's
in there too.
Yeah, it's in there too.
Yeah, but her whole big thing that she sings every day is Wouldn't It Be Nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah, but then
divergent.
It's when like she keeps forgetting and has to do everything over again.
Right.
Which is like a sad thing. So it's like I kind of thought of that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my gosh. And with like everything and like Bo seeming like, I see a lot of people in the chat talking about it like villainous in a way.
Yeah.
Although I think that's a play on lighting.
Yeah.
how that was. But so you have that, you have Forky, and then when Forky's like, Woody, aren't we gonna go see Bonnie? And then it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Did you guys have any other thoughts on at least the God Only Knows portion of it? I got one other song we're going to talk about in there.
I thought it was a beautiful choice. I think it went along very well. It definitely was not something I expected, and it really does help bring out the emotions of what they're trying to convey. So I love the choice. It's really good.
Yep. So a couple people in the chat too. Andrea Rivera, the song had got my eyes watering. Aiden says the song choices in both of these trailers has been perfect. I totally agree. The other thing I really liked is at the beginning, once we start to see the beginnings of the RV trip, did you guys notice hearing the "You've Got a Friend in Me" but in super slow piano?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
the first thing I recognized.
Yeah. So it's almost like they do that in like the Star Wars trailers where you start to get like Luke's theme, like it's always really slow at the beginning, but now we've got "You've Got a Friend in Me." And you tell me anybody that doesn't hear that and immediately get that like jovial little kid feeling of like, it's back.
Oh
like,
yeah, I was hooked right away. Like it came on, I was like, I'm ready. I am. It just got
That's
me.
What I'm saying. It
was.
The trailer gave me everything I wanted. Like even a soft piano rendition of "You've Got a Friend in Me." Like it was perfect.
Yeah. But the soft rendition also kind of layers itself to some of the heavy feelings. You know, they said that we've heard Tom Hanks, we've heard Tim Allen talk about how emotional it is. We've talked about it on our last hangout. This thing seems like it's just going to completely hit you right over the head with the emotions, then in the stomach, and then kick you over.
But I mean, we'll talk about this, but that's like my biggest question from this trailer is it's been the horse is dead and has been beaten. Everyone knows that Toy Story 3 has a perfect ending and it wrapped everything up. That's been said a million times. So, but I'm going to say it again, like where is the arc going at this point? What is the overall theme of this one to go beyond what's already been done? Like there has to be an idea that they had that is different, because the trailer almost makes it seem like the arc is kind of similar to like a Toy Story 2 theme where Woody has to choose between this and that. Bo almost acting like, you know, like almost like the Roundup Gang perspective of, or even Sunnyside. We've seen that before of Woody's in this place and has to choose whether to go back to the kid or have this new life. So like we've seen that before. So I know that there must be a new overarching theme to make this one necessary, I guess.
Right.
I don't want to say necessary, but to justify its existence. They must have something that they're going for. And that's like my biggest question is what is the overall theme or what is Woody's overall arc in this one that hasn't been done already? So
this is where, were you going to say something?
I'm just really confused because like
me too.
When Tim Allen spilled the tea per se on The View about him and Tom Hanks being like having a hard time with the last dialogue, the last bit of dialogue, and I'm like, okay, part of me is like, I don't think that they're breaking up. I don't think that they're going to go separate ways. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
So this is.
I'm torn with like maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, maybe it's. I don't know.
I mean, that's the ultimate with these it's with like a love story. Will they? Won't they? It's like with everything else. Will he? Won't he? Will she? Won't she? Mm-hmm. So here's where I think it's going. I'm going to do a separate video about this because I feel like I have to dive into this more. But you're right, Dan. You're thinking along the same lines that he's always had these choices.
Yeah.
But when it's all come back to it, when it's said and done, he
always chooses the kid.
He chooses the kid.
Yeah.
And where I think this is, and if you go back to this being about potentially the John Lasseter connection, because they said that there's still some of that element of, you know, like that the story was based kind of a little bit on his relationship with Nancy. I'm wondering if there's a little bit of that you have to separate safety of being with a kid to move forward. So I think here's where I think it's going. I think you've got Forky, who was created specifically to have Woody talk about and explain what it means to be alive. So you're building the stakes with Forky. As he's trying to end himself, Woody's going to continue to try to bring his spirits up to prove to him why it's worth being around.
But he's doing that for Bonnie.
He's doing it for Bonnie, but it's because he believes these things, I think. Then you've got I
feel like I kind of know where you're going with
then
this.
you've got Bo Peep, who's saying like, okay,
I'm done.
She seems like, oh, she's the villain. Like people are like, she's kind of like Lotso. People have been texting me saying like, this plot is too obvious. Bonnie's the villain, like Lotso was, or like Stinky Pete. Yeah, and there's no
You mean
way.
Bo Peep, not Bonnie.
So
Bo Peep. Thank you. Yeah. So I think with Bo Peep, she's there to teach Woody, hey, there is life. Life is more than just being there for a kid, because that's all Woody's identified himself as. So I think the big thing at the end is that they do split, and Woody decides to stay away from being with a kid and learning from Bo Peep that what he's been telling Forky, that life is about being there for a kid, that no, life can be about being for yourself too.
Okay, here.
Ooh, I like that.
I have some thoughts.
Yep.
So if that's the case, though, like why add on a whole other movie for Woody to learn this and to live his own life away from a kid and away from his friends, the toys, if it's already in his arc to give up those things over and over again. In Toy Story 2, he had the chance to be in a museum. He had the Stinky Pete monologue that he listened to, and in the end, he chose Andy. When he went to Sunnyside, the toys were like, you can have this whole life here. You never have to have an owner. There's no heartbreak. There's always kids. Lotso gives this whole monologue about that, but Woody still chooses the toys. He always, or Andy. So why make this whole new movie for him to finally go almost out of character and not choose the kid again, and to go with what Bo Peep is saying, when Bo Peep is honestly saying very similar things to what the villains kind of said in the past. Only I don't think she's a villain, but she definitely is feeding thoughts into Woody, making him doubt what he's learned the last 3 movies, or what his main character traits have been. So for a whole new movie to be added on, only for him to kind of like split up from the gang after everything that you went through, or every time he's chosen Andy and every time he's chosen his friends, even at the end of Toy Story 3, he didn't choose Andy. He chose a new life with Bonnie and his friends because he knew it was over with Andy. So for him to just go against all that would just seem so out of left field. But then I also don't want him to just choose the kid or his friends again, because we've seen that 3 times.
Right.
So I'm completely torn. But does it make sense what I'm saying?
So Julie, you say your thoughts, and then Giovanni, you go.
So when you were talking, I was thinking about something. I get totally what you're saying, Dan, but how do we know that Bo even wants Woody to join her? And what if the super surprise emotional ending is something happens to Bo? Bo breaks, she's gone, and Buzz is there to comfort Woody, and that's like the main thing. So what if
bring back Bo to break her?
Well, and then, so the thing would be is what would that
probably not, but I'm just,
it could very well be the case.
But I'm just saying, Pixar, what are you doing?
And then
yeah, so
lost.
I do like that from the intensity standpoint, because it's really big stakes. But if that happens, what's the
just because she's like, creeping around.
Well,
in the antique thing, she just kind of seems like
she's lurking.
Well, she's like Ray of the antique shop.
Yeah, for sure. But what's
the staff and everything?
I know.
What's Woody's arc if she breaks and goes away? Then
Woody's learned everything that he has in the last 3 movies. Like he's had an arc. He's had several arcs. Like there's something we're missing. There's some idea that Pixar had that made them really want to make this, that they really feel adds to the mythos or the legacy of Toy Story, that there's something there that we're not getting.
Yeah, I feel like it's missing. I feel like, as we said, there's still so much we don't know. I feel you're right, Dan. I feel like I don't know. I feel like it's still missing, and I don't know. I really would like Woody to choose something in this movie. I wouldn't want it to be like a fake out sort of thing, and sort of like the end of Toy Story 3, how we thought he would chose one way and did the other. So, but I don't know. You guys said a lot on it, but I don't know.
I still think that I still think that there's going to be the separation between the gang and.
I feel like that too, but I just wonder why, after everything that they've been through, to do it now when he's already chosen them so many times.
Well, I think it's a little bit of like a
growing up kind of thing. He's not really growing
like
up.
Andy in the last one, it was always about other people growing up, but the core of the story is always Woody. What is Woody's story?
Yeah.
Now Woody's going to grow up. Yeah, so I think it's now Woody's going to grow up and he's going to break from his comfort zone and do something different for him this time versus what he thought he needed, which was an owner, a singular owner, not just like the nameless kids in Toy Story 3 or anything like that. I think he always felt like he needed a singular owner to be there for them. And I think, yeah, he could continue to repeat that pattern, but I think he learned something along the way, whether it's from Ducky and Bunny, whether it's from Bo Peep or a conglomerate of a whole bunch.
Kaboom.
But the thing is, if they wanted him to learn that, he could have learned that in Sunnyside. That's what they were teaching at Sunnyside. Is that you don't have to have a singular owner, that you can have this environment where you can be played with and loved by all sorts of different kids.
But maybe it's not about being played with. Maybe it's about finding your own path.
Yeah, because at Sunnyside, you're there. That's, you're restricted to this world. And in the trailer, Bo really showcases, like, look at this whole world that could be yours instead of being confined to a bedroom or a daycare sort of thing.
Well, where would he go then?
They were like in that park area.
Yeah, they went to the carnival. They went to they were in the antique store.
So he's just going to be a wandering toy at the end of this, like a toy, like a refugee.
Maybe he jumps into the carnival and becomes a carny.
I'm like, so Toy Story 4 exists to have Woody just be like this, like refugee with Bo out in the wilderness. Like after he's just a core attribute of his is being played with and being there for a kid. Like that just doesn't make sense to me. So,
and that's honestly been a big concern from comments that we've heard, is that, like you even talked about, Dan, that it's breaking from his theme of loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then also
shown his loyalty a million times so far.
And Starlight Glimmer Earl is saying, how do you do that with Woody without him seeming selfish? Right. So I think there's a way it could happen.
I think it's easier for him because Forky has kind of replaced him. So he's not really being played with. So he doesn't seem like he has to be there for her. So maybe that's easier.
Yeah.
I talked to my family about that today. I was saying it is interesting to see Woody from Toy Story 1, the selfish Woody that like is so frustrated that he's not on top anymore. And then go from a supportive Woody who's like helping the toy who's on top stay on top. Like he knows that Forky's the favorite right now, and he's doing everything he can to make Bonnie happy with Forky. So it shows how far he's come since the first Toy Story.
And there to me is the hint that it's him doing something, because they wouldn't force that agenda. They wouldn't have Woody explaining in detail all of these things about you have to be with a kid, you have to be there for. He's reiterating his own lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So now that he's reiterating his own lessons, his arc, I think, is going to be, and I'm kind of just digging in, but I think that's going to be him breaking off from it, because I think, I mean, if you think of
what's the message, like what's the overlying theme, what are we supposed to get from that? Is
get out of your comfort zone and go do something that could potentially
challenge you,
that could potentially do something even bigger. I'll give you a personal example. So we have talked forever about moving to California so we could be closer to Pixar, potentially work there. And, you know, if we had that opportunity. And just in general, like from my visits there, outside of before we even had the Pixar site, there's always been just this special connection to Pixar. So is this, instead of a movie about, you know, being loyal and those kind of things, is it, we've seen Woody do that, now he's got to break free to go to the next level?
But what's the next level for a toy? That's my question. Like for you, it's a career.
It doesn't. Maybe that's like what's so.
That's what's unknown.
Like it's unknown.
We could make that. We've been staying in Michigan because it's safe for us. We've got our family here. But what opportunities could we have if we made that bold leap and jumped to California?
Well, I guess maybe that's the idea they're thinking of. Maybe they cracked the code that we're not thinking of. Maybe they figured out what's out there more for a toy than being owned by and played with by a kid. I can't think of anything, but maybe they cracked it and we're not thinking of it.
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible. Anything is possible.
I think it's like the unknown, because it is like the.
Yeah, sometimes you got to take the leap.
Yeah.
I also thought of it this afternoon when I was thinking about where the heck this could go. I was also thinking of, what if at the end all the toys are apart at this point, and the toys all have different owners, and you see Rex in a different place, you see the Potato Heads in a different place, you see Woody in a different, and they're all
you're breaking my heart over here, Dan.
Yeah, holy cow.
It's like the ending is like this montage of all of them being loved and like across the country or whatever by different kids in different places. And maybe that's kind of going along with what you're saying, TJ, is that you I don't know, but that also kind of just like goes against kind of the themes of family that Toy Story kind of expanded on too. If it breaks up at the end.
If you want to create a break of the story and say that this is the final one, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know. There's no good answer, and I don't necessarily want to see that happen. Holy cow! I really don't want to see what you said happen as far as everybody separate, unless they all have phones and they're FaceTiming.
Hey, that could happen.
Toy Story has never pushed on technology either. It's been definitely in the background.
I know.
So
I mean, just Trixie a little bit.
Yep. So yeah, Itzy Wolf is saying the same thing. I don't see the point, especially for Woody. So there's definitely this thing, but I still think from the story writing standpoint, if you're putting it up front, you got to have a reason to have it on the back end.
That's what I'm saying. There's a reason, and none of us really have figured out.
We don't know.
Unless we did, we just don't know. Exactly. I just really hope at the end of this that I can be like, yes, that this movie needs to exist, because I just want to leave thinking like, wow, I didn't know it could be wrapped up even more, but they just wrapped it up even more. Yeah. I don't want it to feel like at the end of, like, now that we're at the end of Toy Story 4, it's all broken up and it ends just on this sad note. And then it's like, okay, what was the point of that? We should have just ended on the porch when everything was happy. Like this, like breaking up the band seems like a middle chapter, and then you get back together in the third one. Like, why break them up at the very end if you already concluded in like a satisfying?
But was that like the marriage? And now they're getting older. So now you have to come with like loss and stuff as you get older. You know what I mean? Like if it's life chaptered, like that Toy Story 3 could have been like, oh, the honeymoon phase. Mm-hmm. And now we're.
So they're pulling out The Last Jedi, where it's like, it's just like heroes kind of maybe aren't what you think. And it ends kind of like on this.
It's a possibility.
It's gonna be what was the other one? The other Star Wars movie where everyone
dies. Rogue One.
Yeah, everyone dies.
Well, if they were gonna do that, they would have done that in the furnace, for crying out loud.
That's right. That would have been a Toy Story 3 right there. Yeah. So the question is, will Julie and I leave this theater, and will we have to go into the stalls of the restroom and cry?
That's a classic story.
On our own, like we have at the end of Toy Story 3 when we were walking out.
Can you believe that was almost a decade ago?
That's insane.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. If I didn't know any better, I would say maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So, okay, before we circle back around here and start diving into some of the other elements here, because I think that's good that we got out kind of that meaty part, the emotional part that we're like, what is going to happen?
Driving me nuts all day.
Yeah, exactly. That's the part that everybody wants to know. That's what's driving all these comments. I'm just going to answer this one real quick. George, a couple other people have been talking about Mr. Potato Head. Mm-hmm. So we don't know anything, but let's get our thoughts. Recasted vocal actor, or
I would be. I'm not down for a vocal casting at this point. When it was Slinky, and we hit, I don't know. I know it's weird. Also, Mr. Potato Head is my favorite character, so I feel like I'm more protective of him for some reason. But I feel like we've gone so far at this point, and we've had Potato Head in even the TV special and whatnot, and Toy Story Terror and whatnot. We've gone so far with Don Rickles' voice at this point now, where I feel like if it was a change, something wouldn't feel right. So if anything, I would just want to do archival recordings at this point, because I already feel like the toys are going to get, the rest of the gang is going to be a little
on the back burner.
On the back burner. I'm hoping it's not like levels of like Cars 3 where the radiator springs.
like you see him once at the beginning.
Yeah, like one line, but I'm like, in my head, I was like, okay, are we going to go like a Toy Story 1 route where we're going to kind of like see them every so often? Or are we going to do like a Toy Story 2 thing where it's going back and forth, kind of like an even pace sort of thing of this?
You just talked about this a few weeks ago where we compared it to The Good Dinosaur, how they never check in with the family.
No, they don't.
During the journey, you see them at the beginning and you see them at the end. So we were having the same conversation. We're like, will you see the toys only at the beginning and end, or will they check in with them more like what you were saying, Giovanni, like a Toy Story 1 type of deal?
Yeah.
I think it checks in because Buzz at some point leaves.
Right. I can't imagine all the toys leaving the RV, because at that point, that's the save point. They're on the vacation. Bonnie we already see Bonnie and her family looking for just Woody alone. Who knows? Maybe Buzz. Or
Forky.
Forky. Yeah, you're right. Forky, especially.
Buzz leaves, but the others stay. But they'll have something to do. They're going to make the toy. There's a reason that the toys are there, and they're going to make them relevant.
Yeah,
I would think. I mean, from a story standpoint, you don't want them just there for no reason. Hopefully, they'll all come together. I think the finale. With the fire, I think the shot with the fireworks is the finale. Some kind of rescue. I think the carnival is going to play a big part in the finale, and I think the toys will have a role to play. Hopefully.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, like Bonnie and the family watching the fireworks. Everyone's distracted. So
yeah, that would be cool. Having them run through the carnival, like for whatever, involving Ducky and Bunny as well. Because Toy Story always has these epic climaxes. You had. Well, I mean, Toy Story 1 was pretty self-contained, but then Toy Story 2, you had the big airport sequence, then you had the big dumpster sequence. So I feel like this could be like a big carnival rescue sequence or something involving a big action set piece.
Yeah, absolutely. So as far as for Don Rickles with Mr. Potato Head, I think we're all on the same page that they've already had to do it with the Dusty and Rusty's, the owners of that.
They made it work flawlessly.
Yeah,
exactly. They already had to deal with it with Doc Hudson and Paul Newman. So I feel like they're going to do the same thing. And they've got, as Giovanni even pointed out, he's been in so many specials that they've got so much footage that they can call through.
Oh, I bet there's hours of stuff. And Don Rickles, I mean, they showed a D23 one year, like just outtakes of him even just doing
just
Midway Mania, Mr. Potato Head. I mean, they got so much stuff they could pull from, even if it's like a little quip here or there, that.
Right.
3 films, 2 TV specials, 3 shorts, and the ride.
Yeah.
About the ride. That's a ton. That's way more than Doc Hudson had.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So
I think someone tweeted from Pixar. I don't think it was Josh Cooley, but someone on the team, I believe, said in response to someone else's tweet, no one can replace Don Rickles, as kind of a hint that they would be keeping him.
Yeah, okay.
I don't remember who it was, but I remember that tweet saying no one can replace Don Rickles. But I think they're going that route for sure.
Right.
That's been the hope.
Cool. All right, so let's dive into some more of the visual aspects here as well. The one thing that I thought was neat right from the get-go is when they go into Bonnie's room and you've got Woody that comes out of the backpack and he's like, I want to introduce you guys. I thought it was so cool how welcoming everybody was. They were so excited to get this new toy in their lives. They're so changed from Toy Story 1 where everybody was panicky about who was going to come next. I thought it was great. They even, like, when he pops out, they all kind of lurch forward and they're all smiling going, hey! I just thought that was a really cool element.
Yeah, but it's also Bonnie's life, Bonnie's world. So I feel like maybe because it's more of a welcoming environment.
Well, but I mean, Rex he's always nervous and he wasn't even like, so I thought that was just a really cool touch that they were, again, it's showing everything's perfect until.
It reminded me of a shot, like the way the shot was framed and everything and the lighting. It reminded me of when Small Fry came home with Woody in the backpack.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It looked like one of the shorts.
Yeah. It smells like chicken in here.
And obviously this is a phase that Bonnie's in with making her own things. So you can see throughout it all the extra things that she's made. There's like a little, like, looks like a castle or some kind of house.
With like a pretzel thing.
There's like a pretzel thing. There's like a tower with like a toilet paper or a paper towel roll. Like, you can see she's definitely in a huge creative phase. But you mentioned
probably like kindergarten.
But you mentioned the loner phase. Yes. So did you guys pick up on that too? That she's kind of seemed like alone or lonely?
Only because they seemed so surprised that she made a friend.
Oh, she's making friends. Yeah. Well, I think it's because it's like early on in kindergarten. Like, oh, she's making friends already.
Yeah, I didn't really get the loner. I didn't think of that, but I did notice that they mentioned like, oh, making friends. So I don't know. Like, it came across that maybe she had a hard time making friends, which kind of goes along with what you're saying. If she is in kind of like a keeping to herself type of phase right now.
Right. I thought she was a loner because, or not a loner, but just she was more reserved.
Yeah.
Maybe really shy. Kind of. Well, we know she's shy because she's always kind of like behind the mom's legs and stuff like that. But
at school, it appeared to be that she was sitting at the table by herself.
Exactly. Yeah. Whereas the table behind her, slightly out of focus, had a couple kids at it.
Yeah. Which could just be the scene that they showed, but
yeah.
Well,
it also makes it seem like Forky was just a creative project that she created and not like the project that maybe
The Room did or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we've already kind of seen Bonnie grow up. Like in Toy Story That Time Forgot, when she's playing with Nathan and she's playing video games, like she already seems a bit older.
That's true.
Oh, good call.
It's almost. I'm almost I'm not almost. I am confused, kind of where this is taking place in the Toy Story timeline.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, we don't know exactly where.
I feel like it's kindergarten.
Okay.
So the other shorts would have come after Toy Story 4 then, or is there a flash forward?
Well, I feel like it's before because our son is 5 and he'll go to kindergarten in the fall.
Well, it's definitely
and
before,
he plays Splatoon 2 like it's nobody's business. And they were playing video games at Mason's house. So I feel like a 5-year-old pre-kindergarten could do it.
She did seem to grow up though in the shorts.
Yeah, well, but she was also comfortable in her area. Like, she was going to Mason's house and she was throwing her bag in there. Like, she's been over there a bunch. So she could be different if she was already kind of close to somebody. But Dolly's comment of, like, oh, she made a new friend already makes it seem like Bonnie didn't want to be there or she's shy or whatever.
Yeah, she's already been going to school. We see her come home so many times in the shorts with her backpack. Hi, toys, bye, toys.
Could have been preschool.
Preschool.
Yeah.
So who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to cry at this movie.
I'm really worried they're going to do, the Toy Story films are always trying to show different angles of like what a toy's perspective in different situations. And I thought they might go the route of, showing something. We've never really seen a character really like a child character grieve the loss of the loss of a toy. So I thought maybe, going back, like, if Woody to Whirly, you see this sort of side of a character accepting this loss of a toy. So we also give Bonnie this arc as well. So I don't know. I'm be interested to see if she plays even a bigger role in this film as well. So
I like that.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like that Forky goes out a window. He's the new favorite, and yet he wants to go out the window. But in the first Toy Story, Woody was so upset that he pushed Buzz out the window and would have left him for dead.
I love that.
Happened. So there's that contrast where Woody now jumps out the window to like bring the favorite toy back to comfort Bonnie.
Like that.
I have another visual comparison, or a comparison from Toy Story 1, or even pre-Toy Story 1 to now.
Let's hear it.
But I can't tell you. It's going to be part of a separate video because
I don't even know.
I'm developing it.
Okay.
But now I'm
Under
development. Yes, it's got a working title. But I'll incorporate and give you some credit for that one, as far as like the Buzz out the window, the Forky out the window.
Yeah, I just kind of thought about it because it's almost the exact opposite of what happened in the first film.
Yeah. So I also heard that Jordan joined the stream. So hello, Jordan. I know Jordan. So I want to talk about, so now we've got Forky struggling to get free. So there's a cool zoom with the handheld kind of camera look while he's getting close and approaching the window, as he's describing that he's only sometimes for, this or that, a salad, sometimes chili. I love that when he's up on the window and he's looking back, like here's like a technical dorky thing, the lighting that wraps around the pipe cleaner for his arms. You can see because the lighting outside from the moon is like the bluish color, and he's got red, so the shadow is like a pinky purpley color around him, but it wraps all the way around. You can still see the fuzziness. You can still see the metal core that's bending. It's awesome. I love how he flips once and then floats away, like as he's going out the window. It's so ridiculous.
We know that his arms come off at one point.
Yes. So yeah, he loses parts, and Woody's kind of holding his arms as the ventriloquist dummies are.
Oh, is that another Woody comparison where he's kind of the mentor? And that's happened to Woody too, losing an arm.
He's holding. Well, no, wait. He's holding like Buzz's arm at one point,
and that too.
Yes.
And he holds Buzz's arm, and he holds his own arm, and then he holds Forky's arm.
Well, what are the ventriloquist dolls? Woody was supposed to originally be one.
Yeah, I thought
that was what it was going to be, and I told you to keep your mouth shut about that.
Oh, I already had that thought. Yeah. It's all good.
Oh, he told me that.
That's okay.
That's awesome. No, it's totally fine. So the other one, oh yeah, that was the out the window.
Did anybody's arm come off in Toy Story 3? Because that would be every movie.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
But I don't think so.
That would be awesome. So, all right. So I'm actually going to show part of the application.
Yeah, let's get some screenshots up.
I'm going to go to the trailer here for a second, and then we're going to come back after we do this first look. Can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Black screen.
Yes, the blank screen.
In fact, let me just do this real quick.
I can't wait. I think the creation of Forky scene is going to be really cute. I'm excited to see that in like it's the entirety.
Right.
Oh, it's so cute. I love it.
But yeah, so here she is. She's at the table kind of by herself. You've got at least two kids, but maybe a third back here.
Yeah.
If you kind of look, I mean, she kind of has a little sadder expression if you look at, I mean, I don't know if that's concentration. I don't know if I'm digging here.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. Okay, so now they're. Oh.
I love his reaction.
Yeah, his reaction's great. I love that his eyes, like how they jiggle, how they pop off. We get to see the bottom, how it says BONNIE on, split up.
Another parallel there with how Andy always wrote on the bottom.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so yeah, so she's got Woody up there. She's playing with him as well. You can see the RV kind of moving a little bit.
Oh my
She
goodness.
fell asleep holding. I mean,
this scene right here. Oh my.
I mean,
I'm gonna lose it.
That is what little kids do.
That
is what little kids do.
That captures it perfectly.
Yep. Okay, so we're seeing all this, and then we've got here's the fast zoom. So we've got the quick over here, and then the quick Zoom into him.
I love this side of Forky. We saw the freak out, but I really love this sort of like just seeing his brow pose that way, this sort of angry little just frustrated side of him.
Yeah, here, let me go back to like this first look here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Great brow pose. That's awesome.
I see. Now these are the insights we love here. So we got great brow pose.
No, there's a character I do who has a unibrow, so I can appreciate any good unibrow pose. It's good.
Perfect.
All
right, so now we get woo. And now I want to talk about this. So I want to talk the dolly zoom there.
Yep.
Okay.
Kind of like the ring race in Lord of the Rings.
It's used in a bunch of stuff. Yes,
a lot of movies. Technique. I forgot what it's called, but
yes, it's technically so I'm going to come back to us here. So, okay. So let's see here. Let me actually move this off. And back here, there we go, a little bit brighter. So the dolly zoom, also known as this is a film class too. So hey, Ashley Gettings joined. So hey, Ashley.
Ashley.
Yeah, everybody here knows.
Yeah,
Giovanni,
right.
we saw her at D23. Dan, Did you see her there too?
No, but we're pals. We're online.
That's right. That's right. So yes, John Fitzgerald, Arias, existential horror and TV tropes. So it's also known as the Vertigo Effect because this was first premiered in Alfred Hitchcock's film Vertigo.
Yeah, it's all on the camera.
So yes, it's all about while you're moving the camera physically closer to the subject, you're also zooming at the same time.
Yep.
So it's creating this weird effect that's going on. So it's typically used in unsettling scenes where something is either hurried or somebody is uncomfortable. Brad Bird actually uses it quite a bit. And now this is where I get to diverge for just a quick second and talk about the filmmaking aspect and the brilliance of Brad Bird again, because he actually uses it in Ratatouille, where he actually is doing where Remy is in the kitchen and he's watching the TV and the TV is actually off in the distance. And so they physically zoom into the TV while zooming out on Remy. So they become physically closer together. So it's actually used in a scenario where it's not a stressful moment, but it's actually used in a great way to bring two characters closer together as he's watching him and kind of holding the spices, kind of like, oh, it's my hero, which is super cool. He also uses it in that moment where Edna has the tracker. And she's like, would you like to know where he is?
Yes.
And so you've got Mrs. Incredible in the background crying, and she's wiping her nose. And as Edna Mode is turning, holding the homing device, the beacon, it's physically coming closer as if to hand it to Edna, to Helen, Elastigirl. So I love how Brad Bird uses it almost differently than anybody else. Cinematography, I don't know if that was somebody else on his team that came up with it. I'm just going to go, since it was done in two separate movies when he's had different people working, that it's his vision and wholly amazing usage of the Vertigo Effect / the dolly zoom. So obviously we know it.
And it's highlighted in his notes.
This is yes. When I go way off topic is when I've got highlighted in green, like about the
those are topics he wants to talk about. Yeah. And there's pages, you guys, pages.
Double-sided.
Yeah, no, I pay attention to all that too. It's all super fascinating to me. I love cinematography is one of my absolute favorite parts of filmmaking, and so that's right up my alley.
Yeah, I had to gush about that for a moment because not only was I geeked to see it in here, but I love talking about Brad Bird and his cinematography choices. Not to say that I'm not excited that they used it here, but they used it in the unsettling way. I like when they do it in a somewhat other way too.
But it fits here though.
It totally fits because it's unsettling. He's really facing this moment. It's the exact same thing as when the guy, the sheriff on the beach in Jaws realizes that the shark's out there and it Brody. It's the same thing when Brody realizes that. So it's now Woody realizes that who he wants is flown out the window and he's gonna have to do something about it.
Speaking of unsettling.
Yes.
Let's talk about these ventriloquist dummies.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about them first in context of let's go to the poster here. Do you guys care if we talk about do you care if we talk about the poster real quick?
No.
Sounds good.
That's why I got the image for my shirt.
Fantastic.
Oh, is that where they came from?
Yep.
Can you guys see that again?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like not every, because Toy Story 2 didn't really, but Toy Story had the creepy toys with Sid's toys.
Yep.
Toy Story 3 had Big Baby and the kind of the creepiness of some of those Sunnyside scenes, and then you have these. So it's kind of a tradition at this point to do a couple creepy characters and a couple creepy scenarios.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, I love them.
Okay, so what is it about the creepiness of Benson, aka the ventriloquist dummies, that you think is so perfect and good?
Okay, first off, they're scary looking. I mean, I've always thought ventriloquist dummies, like just dolls in general, like especially like Gabby, they freak me out.
Well, for sure.
But
well, it's like straight out of Goosebumps, really.
Yeah, well, it fits, but the way they move, they run, but like
it's so unsettling.
It's like zombies.
Okay.
Even though zombies don't really run, but the way that they're just like.
So yeah, we're gonna come back to this to talk about. Yeah, so they run. I wrote about that specifically. What did you guys have notes on that, or that you had thoughts on that specifically? How they moved?
It's almost kind of weird. Like there's that shot where like the camera's a little higher up, almost. I mean, to guess it, like Woody, they're up higher on like on a table or something. It almost puts you in the shoes of a human, of how they would see, how you would see these dummies running up to you. And that was more unsettling to me than I think if it was a camera angle that was down low.
Yeah.
Just seeing them kind of scurry, I was like, this is this
is one straight horror.
Well, then when they're like just like this, like a fish, and they're like squeezing through, like
oh my god,
that's the shot that is the most unsettling to me. Where I'm like, is this Toy Story? Where they're like squeezing through the little whatever it was, and they're all like piling through, like fish.
So we let our son Leo watch it. Leo just turned 5, and as soon as it's over, we're like, "What did you think?" But he goes, "I liked it." Now he's like, "But who are those boys?" And we're like,
"Yeah."
We're like, "What boys?" So we went to it, and we get to this scene because of course we kind of knew who he was talking about, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't like those guys."
Yeah, we had to explain that, like Gabby kind of just told him to go get him. We don't know why they want him to go get him, but he was just like, "Oh no, no."
And he was like, "Is she a bad guy?" And we're like, "I don't know."
Yeah.
Do you guys get kind of like a, not exactly the same, but a little bit of Big Baby vibes from Gabby?
Well, yeah. Yeah,
that's
because like if you read her character description, so they talk about the fact that but unfortunately for her, a manufacturing defect in her pull string voice box has left her sounding anything but adorable. She spent more than 60 years forgotten in the depths of the jam-packed antique store. Her only companions are a band of voiceless ventriloquist dummies. Makes it even scarier that they're voiceless. And Gabby.
I hope they make sounds.
Oh no! You know what it'll be? It'll be the chattering of their wood mouth.
Oh, probably.
Gonna hear that in your dreams.
But Gabby does talk in the trailer, so that's interesting too.
But it's so, like Julie said. Go ahead and say what you said about her voice box.
I said that too. I said, but they're not going to show that. She's going to be like, "Hi, I'm Gabby. I want to play with you." It's going to be like every couple minutes, I think, is like her voice is going to go crazy.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
They're not going to show the scary parts, but like. So, but the last line is, it says, Gabby knows someone will want her if only she can find a working voice box to repair hers. So there's her. So there's her like character arc that she's going to come around as far as to probably tell the ventriloquist dummies like, "Hey, Benson, get out of here."
But again, I had that thought too. But I was like, is that too close to Toy Story 3, where the henchmen kind of at the end all are happy at the end, and they all come around to the other toys and they're tag teaming, and like if the bad or the almost the villainous toys within the antique shop come around at the end and kind of help with everything, is that kind of too reminiscent?
Okay, hang on. Somebody so Movie Man Mark, who by the way has hello Mark. Yeah. He's wanted to be on these hangouts for a while, so we'll have to invite him on one of these times for sure. She's trying to go after Woody's voice box when she says, "Don't let him leave." If that's the case, that's like
Oh, that's clever.
Maybe there's just something with his pull string mechanism that's broken in hers.
That's what Mr. Petey said too.
Yeah. So she's going after Woody's pull string. She's trying to get Woody's voice box. Oh man, that is going to be even more terrifying.
And then, like, imagine if he gets ripped open in the back.
Oh God.
And then, like, Louise, Dan.
Dan's got the movie set up where Woody gets ripped open.
The toys are separated.
The toys are separated. Everybody's losing arms. You know, Josh.
Benson has Woody's like plush stuff hanging out of their ventriloquist dummy mouth.
They're painting a very dark movie. How can I not have these thoughts?
Well, you know, Josh Cooley made the golden book, like the little golden book, but not a real little golden book of like the horror films.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, he's into like these kind of like the heavy side of things.
So is Lee Unkrich too.
Mr. Petey, you're my favorite deputy.
Well, they open up. Remember, Lotso's gang opens up his back to take out the batteries. So I picture that kind of similar thing where they're like holding him down and then like kind of rip open the Velcro and take it out. And then maybe Woody can't talk or something. I don't know.
Well, so we have Velcro on the back of ours, but I don't think I don't think the actual Woody has Velcro on it.
Like
right. That's how I picture it because that's what I've always grown up with. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Probably doesn't. Well, he has a vest on. We don't know.
Oh no, 50s toy or something that wouldn't have batteries.
Yeah, that's sewn in there.
Sewn in there. You're right. You're right.
Yeah. So
there goes that idea. But
so since we're talking about these dummies, the ventriloquist dummies, and by the way, people are talking before we do that. Other people are saying, thank you, Dan, for bringing up the fact that it looks like Goosebumps. What's the guy's name?
Oh, Slappy.
Slappy.
It does.
The reason it looks like that, people, is because
that's what they look like.
That's what ventriloquist dummies from that era look like. I think it's like if you look up like Charlie McCarthy and like there's a Dan one out there, like, you know, I can't remember the name of it, but if you look those up, they all kind of have that similar vibe,
100%.
especially from that era. So I think that's what it is. There's definitely no like honoring of that movie or anything.
Not at all. But it does. I mean, a lot of people, since that's kind of like ingrained into a lot of like kids from our era, a lot of people are probably going to think of that.
Right, for sure. Okay, so here, let me put this back over here.
No, I haven't done a lot of pausing today. I've watched it a million times, but I have not paused this shot, and that's gorgeous.
Oh my God, I know.
We have found quite a few Easter eggs too.
Yeah.
Oh, I've definitely seen some Easter eggs, but
that's Benson.
So yeah, the dude with the red bow tie has to be Benson. It's like Chip and Dale. How do you tell them apart? Dale with the red nose, you know, or Chip with the red nose.
And then he's got henchmen.
What's interesting though is the one with the red bow tie isn't on the poster, which you'd think would be Benson.
Correct. Yeah, he's not.
Okay. Porky's face there.
Oh my gosh, that scene is so creepy.
Well, all the reflectivity adds to the creepiness too.
With Gabby, and she's like kind of rocking back and forth.
Holy crap! Yeah.
Just watch.
Oh, she sits in this carriage, like the dummies roll her around like she's their queen.
Well, not only that, but like the fact of how she comes up here, like just how she enters the scene with her eyes looking like off.
I want to play with you.
Does Forky like freeze up in the next shot? That one?
Yeah, he's pretty much. He's just like. Ugh.
He's like he freezes up like if he was with Bonnie or something.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're kind of having a discussion.
There's that shot.
Let's play.
Oh God!
Could you imagine things running up to you like that?
No.
Giovanni, I spend a lot of time to not imagine those things.
This is gonna scare a lot of kids.
This part right here.
No,
that's the one. That's the one.
Yeah.
No. See, okay. First off, yeah, that. But I actually think the one that with the magazines isn't the one. Yeah, where they come all piling through in like a straight line.
It's all kind of the same to me. I think that's like all the same shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that, just spilling out there like an endless supply of weirdos.
How many are there? Have we figured that out?
There's 4.
Well, is it 4 plus Benson?
3 plus Benson, so 4 altogether.
Oh God,
it makes it look like a lot.
Yeah, it definitely does. Jesus.
So you know, for the most part, Pixar films. The rating system has changed so much. I feel like. With Finding Dory, went from G with Finding Nemo to PG for Finding Dory and so on and so forth. Do you think this could be the first PG Toy Story?
Yeah.
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 I totally think so.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see. So the other thing I want to talk about, this part is also highlighted in green. So here comes another off-the-cuff, weirdly educational moment, I guess.
Let's hear it.
Did you notice the magazines that are knocked over? So if I think about like going to like my grandparents' house when I was younger, they always had stacks and stacks of a couple different things. They had tons of National Geographic.
Always National Geographics.
They had some Life magazines, and they had some Farmer's Almanacs that were also piled up there.
Okay.
I feel like that stack with the yellow border
that's like a nod to National Geographic.
It's National Geographic, but it definitely kind of looks like
Farmer's Almanac,
like the Farmer's Almanac cover too, with some of the historic elements. But let's also talk about Look magazine, which was there. So Look magazine was actually a competitor to Life, and in there, so knocking over, it was from the 1930s to the 1970s, and there was a notable staff photographer that worked for Look magazine that you may know, being Stanley Kubrick. Worked for Look magazine. So if anything, I would bet that like that might have had a little bit of a in there because of some of those things. It could be, but either way, just so you know, Stanley Kubrick.
Good. I think that's pretty much
got started as a Look magazine. So
I like Billy's comment about the Sid's torturing toys could be the darkest scene. And that it is true. If you do go back to that first Toy Story and like the comment about them being cannibals, like I mean, that is pretty dark, and they think that they're eating the other toys.
Oh my God, yeah, that's
so, I mean,
terrifying.
This is right up there. If you,
but no, once you throw ventriloquist dummies, that is hordes of them running at you. That is way more creepy.
No, 100% agreed.
and their eyes are like this.
It's the flopping, man. It's the flopping. It's so weird.
It is the flopping. The knees are buckling in when they're running, and then the hands are just straight.
It's just that they can't really walk straight, and then their arms are
because they have because ventriloquists, they're supported by the arm and side.
Well, I know that's what makes it so cool.
Yeah, so they could have said, they could have just have them come alive and walk like any other character, but they accounted for the fact that they don't have any that's empty space inside them, so they're like, like it's very cool. They're probably sitting around a table. They're like, how can we take the creepiness factor up 3 notches
without probably getting way inappropriate?
That's true.
Totally.
But they had discussions about this. I'm sure they're
in Dan's vision, there probably was a scenario where the ventriloquist dummies were eating the stuffing out of them.
we don't know if that's in it or not, so it still could be.
Yeah, so John Fitzgerald Arias, ventriloquist equal the creepy girls from The Shining, and then definitely The Shining. It has those elements too, with how they're all kind of piling through, all cramming through a tiny space. So, whoo!
And Lee Josh is into the horror stuff, but then Lee is also listed as one of the producers, and he was involved too. So who knows what ideas he was feeding into this as well.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, he executive produced it, and then.
And he was on the Brain Trust for a while, like when they were in transition, I believe.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And Mark Nielsen had said that the Benson is one of the creepiest or most unsettling characters they've ever made.
Yeah, I will be interested, like, to see maybe in a future documentary or on a Blu-ray or something, like, kind of who like where this idea stemmed from. Sometimes they give a specific person, like, oh yeah, this person had that idea.
Yeah.
And they'll have like a little interview with them, and it'll be interesting to see if anybody like dives into who came up with this crazy ventriloquist idea.
Yeah. Well, they probably went to, I've watched enough episodes of American Pickers, one of my favorite shows. And every antique store or collection that they go in, they're always collecting these ventriloquist dummies, and then even just all the jars, like those jars that are on the floor throughout there, and just some of the old plates and everything. Like, this looks like an antique store. You know, they obviously did their research, but they seem to pick up enough of those, because in that show,
glass, like the blue glass, the green glass, the rose glass.
Right. Yeah, and then they had the display case, which they always talk about, Mike Wolf and Frank Fritz always talk about the fact that on the counters, just like in this antique shop, there's a display case that's like one of those glass angular ones that they can lift up in the back and show things, and it's broken on the counter. They always talk about that the glass is broken in those. Just so cool how clear all of this is. By the way, I saw Mike Wolf eating at a restaurant one time. I was very excited.
I've been to, I really enjoy going to antique shops, actually. I get a kick out of it. And I've gone to quite a few, and they really did capture it to a T.
Do you think they'll like, it'll be like a, what do they call it? Like a 4D animational pipe in that antique shop smell into the movie.
Oh man, if this is 3D, I am not going, because I do not want to see a 3D scene of those things smashing through at me.
No, because you sleepwalk and I don't want to be around with you. I'm already worried about tonight. Just sleepwalk into those.
Well, I was karate chopping last night.
So with Toy Story 3, you were in the bathrooms after crying because of the emotional end scene. Like this one, you're going to be in the bathrooms crying because you can't get over the dummies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be the case.
I think they're going to end up nice at the end.
Okay. All right. So you think it'll be like the Toy Story 3 thing where they have the henchmen like dancing become good and they all kind of get along.
Interesting.
All right. So the next thing we kind of see in sequential order, just kind of jumping backwards a little bit, and then we'll go back to the poster, is Bonnie's license plate. It's B3N604. Does that mean anything to any of you guys? B3.
No, I was trying to think of that earlier.
Everybody knew it. If you don't know it, I probably wouldn't have got it.
I put it in the chat just so everybody can kind of see it too. I have no clue. I'm just like, I was like driving myself nuts with that. All right, so let's go back. I'm going to share the poster again real quick. We'll start circling the home stretch here. So so we talked about these guys. We've got, well, let's talk about Bo Peep and who is this person again here?
Giggles.
Giggle McDimples. So yes, so that's voiced by, what is it, Ally Mackey, and this is the smallest toy in the Toy Story universe that Josh has said, and then Ally also reiterated that.
Nah, there were some Legos.
Yeah, it's interesting that they say that, but it's interesting to think how small.
Maybe character.
But you got to think about how small Bo Peep's shoulders are.
Oh, that's true.
And this character is on her shoulder.
It's like
a micro machine size.
Well, it's like the vintage Polly Pockets.
Yeah,
like from like the early 90s.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah. So yeah, because they talk about the fact that she's been like stuffed up a kid's nose, she's been vacuumed, she's been stepped on.
Yeah, no. Now that you put that in perspective, she's tiny, because like a Lego character would be like above her head.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. So it'll be interesting to see what comes here, from this character. But it's like, it says a Giggle is Bo's Jiminy Cricket. We're able to get insight on Bo through their relationship together. So this is where we're going to get the backstory, I believe, of what happened to Bo, is by them talking back and forth and determining what's going to happen. So that's kind of cool.
Is that maybe where those series of flashbacks happen? Like what we've seen on Good Morning America?
Oh, yeah, where they're like rescuing. Maybe she's telling her like, yeah, I rescued, maybe I was always kind of this way with like being tough. I rescued RC, who was outside in a ditch. All right, organize that. Yeah.
Another question we didn't really talk about before. What if we keep on talking about like Bo convincing Woody of her ideals and Woody going off with her, but what if Woody convinces Bo to change and come back to his way of thinking?
That's a possibility.
Because when you mentioned like the angel on the shoulder, like I'm thinking like maybe are her ideals kind of like wrong in the views of a toy, and maybe she's pushing him more towards like how Woody sees things. I don't know. It's
interesting. We shall see.
We shall see.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to go back to the poster here. Let's zip around this thing for another minute here. All right. So can you guys see that okay again? All right. Let me lock it back on my screen. We've got finally. Okay. Obviously, if you've paid any attention to Toy Story 4, you've seen something of Duke Kaboom, but we've been trying to be respectful and not talk about it.
We have.
But it's been driving us crazy.
I know.
Yeah, because he's been leaked for months now.
I know.
We didn't want to say anything.
Because it wasn't like, it wasn't theirs.
They didn't officially say anything
Yeah.
about them yet.
So it was like, all right, what do we do here? So anyway, yay, we can talk about Duke Kaboom. In the background, we've got an Easter egg here. We've got the dogs. We've got the classic dogs playing poker poster, but now we get to see Alpha, Beta, Gamma playing with Doug and Charles Muntz.
Such a favorite one.
I know, I love that. I'm also oddly fascinated with this right here, this like abstract kind of like Claude Monet-ish type painting. I am very interested to see what this is. Part of me is like, is this the Easter egg for the next movie? Is this a world from Onward? Something like that. I kind of I wondered that a little bit.
Interesting.
So we've got the standard Forky being confused. We got Buzz being his normal self. I still love the fact that he still has his little plastic hanger on there. That is the best. Yeah. Remember these two names, director of photography, Patrick Lynn and Jean-Claude Kalash. I'm going to talk about them in a little bit.
My favorite aspect is seeing the carnival outside the window.
Oh, isn't that just gorgeous through the window too?
Yeah, with the antiques backwards because you got the perspective from the inside.
So yeah, so I talked
right across the street.
Yeah, so we know. So it's scene setting. We know that this is like right there. Now we know the antique store is right there too. And I mentioned this as an Easter egg. Second Chance Antiques, established 1986, which is of course Pixar's incorporation year. Mm-hmm. There's some more that we'll be able to talk about.
But let's dive into the Easter eggs.
All right, let's talk about a couple more of those.
The store is going to be. It's in the poster and it's throughout the trailer. Do you think that it's a lot of the screen time is going to be spent there?
In the antique store?
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally
think that's just like a segment in the middle or something, or do you think that it's like a key? I mean, we know it's key, but like, do you think we spend a lot of time there?
I think that's going to be one scene and that's it.
That's what I thought, but it's like in the poster, and it's like it makes it almost seem like it's, but it does seem like they move on from that area. So
I think it's probably going to kind of come back in between there.
I do too. I think they maybe that's like a home base.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah, it might be like a safety place because we know that the carnival's right outside and so much of it's going to take place at the carnival. I think it's going to kind of be like...
Yeah, that immediate area.
And they called the poster the antique payoff poster. So they titled it Antique Store Payoff Poster. You know, like
that could be a plot point right there if you think about it.
What, that they labeled it that?
Yeah, like just calling it that is interesting to think about. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, so let's look at the rest of the old trailer here real quick. Hopefully you guys are still doing okay in the chat here. We've got a lot to talk about with this one. I love it. All right, gonna go back here. We're gonna lock this. So there's the magazines. Let's zip.
Well, there was a Brave Easter egg.
Oh, was there? So, I love I just noticed when you were scrolling through on the bottom of the antique store, like classic, where they have the credit cards that are accepted.
Oh yeah, on the door.
I just noticed that. That's like such a there it is.
Yep.
That shot too. I am pumped to see that full sort of just seeing Woody get inside that little slot. I feel like it's going to be great to just.
Oh yeah.
Making me think of that Doug Sweetland shot in Toy Story 3 in the bathroom. Just sort of.
I love those shots. That's what it reminded me of.
Yep.
And Woody's classic squeezing face.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the face. And another Doug Sweetland, Monsters Inc., where Sully thinks Boo that's like one of your favorite scenes.
It's absolutely one of my favorite animated scenes where Boo or Sully has essentially that same type of face too. But yeah, Woody has this classic.
Yeah.
That classic
kind of thing.
So yeah, he falls through there. Establishing shot.
Look at that lighting.
That's so gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
The reflections. Oh my goodness.
Now you know this has got to be like at somewhat of a different. We're hopping all over time wise, because outside now it almost looks like it's like early morning or pre-dusk, and then right before this shot, this is definitely like that feels more. This feels later, doesn't it? I don't know, maybe not.
I don't know, maybe not.
But either way, this is after they jump out. They've had their discussion along the road, and then then they're walking down here. So that was obviously in the middle of the night when they jump out.
Right.
So by the time, and then the when the dummies are running, the light shining through seems like an early morning light.
Yeah, it's definitely earlier.
Like 7 a.m. Lighting, because the store's not open yet, obviously.
Oh, I hope not.
No, yeah.
Oh
Here we go again. Let's go past this. All right, so here we go. So they fall. All right, here's one that I wasn't going to reveal yet, but this one is the Brave. This is the Clan Dunbrock sword.
That one.
Nice.
So that one's that's great to have out there.
I won't say anymore because TJ's going to do a video with all of them. I just keep spoiling all his videos.
Totally fine. Okay, can we talk about, and Giovanni, I want your take on this whole scene with Bo coming in here and her animation as she takes out Gabby here. So it's easier to kind of see it as you break it down a little bit if it's a little slower.
Yeah, it's like she hooks it and like it's not even like a trip thing. It's like she hooks it and like plants it down too, like really taking her down.
Yeah, I love the fact that she's got it. She knocks her with the hook, but I just love how she's swinging in. Her motions are taking her backwards. She's stopping, then she re-engages the hips, pushes everything forward in the legs, gets those arms under there to really sell it. Look at that great facial. She's pushing hard, and then Pyle drives her home.
Who knew Bo Peep was such a warrior?
I know. I love it. I love that. And for being such a porcelain doll, that's some serious heat. Okay, so we've got this. They're running under. I love this. The pegboards. Like, let's sneak behind here. She's giving him like all right, let's go back here. I'm going to give you the scoop.
And that was the shot too, which even somebody pointed out in the It's Evil pointed out in the chat how Ducky and Bunny are in that shot, which which makes me believe, like, who knows, maybe I'm picturing this scene where the dummies just have them, they're stuck, and then out of nowhere you just hit. Oh, even Duke's there too.
Yeah, Duke, Kaboom, Ducky and Bunny. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, it makes sense now that like someone mentioned the voice box thing, because Bo lives at the antique store. It doesn't make sense that the dummies and Gabby would suddenly be after Bo. They definitely seem after Woody and not wanting him to leave.
Yes.
And Bo is protecting Woody. So it seems like the voice box really is going to play into this, because maybe she sees the pull string and that's what sets it off.
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, because they're definitely not after Bo. That's like her terrain.
Right. Yeah, she's been there too. All right, so now this moment. The first time we see Bo back in like some of her original outfit. So where is this, and where does this play into it?
This is totally, which I was wondering. I go, okay, so how are they gonna did Bo just leave behind everyone's back, sort of thing? This makes it appear like Bo is leaving. It was known to everybody, believe me, this shot and the one later on of like that wide shot under the that was
the silhouette
trailer. We'll get to that one, but yeah, you can already tell, like, great, another crying scene in the middle of where we're gonna see how they separated. So yeah.
Is that what you think? That moment's when she decides to leave Andy's?
Yes.
Yeah, I think she was like basically given away. I don't think.
Well, she's in a box, but under the car. They might have pushed it under the car because of the rain.
Yeah, because Woody seems wet. If you look at his like fabric, it looks soaked.
Yeah, and I think that she's like, "No, I'm not coming back." Like,
and he's like, "What do you mean? Like, what about us?"
Yeah.
Maybe Woody regrets, like he decided to stay when he could have left with her, and maybe that caused a kind of a rift between them.
Oh.
Well, maybe because sometimes girls say something and we mean another.
Yeah. So he decides maybe he could have chosen to stay there with at Andy's, or come with her, and kind of gives them an ultimatum, and he ultimately chooses, he needs to be there for his kid, and then Bo becomes this like hardened character.
Billy Bobilly says, "Is this the same scene that she just got done rescuing RC from? Maybe this is like, that's it. Yeah. I can't have any more toys lost. I am out of here. I don't want to be next."
Oh, maybe.
Wow.
That's interesting. So, okay. So that scene with the rain, with them, if this is...
Maybe RC was never rescued. Maybe something happened to him.
Oh, here we go again.
Yeah, a whole
Hey, just add that to Dan's film of the darkest Toy Story film ever.
Yeah.
You're doing it, not me.
So, okay, so this scene reminds me of the weight and the emotion of Castaway when Tom Hanks comes back.
Yes.
He's
And it's
now
raining in that scene too.
yes.
Oh, you nailed it, TJ.
It's the same dark lighting, like with like those same tones where it's like, but what about us? But I've moved on emotionally.
Right.
Like this is the Castaway moment.
Gone.
Yeah, I thought you were gone. Like, you know, who knows what it is, but this to me is that Castaway scene.
Oh, you nailed it.
Whoa. Man, oh man. All right, you went. Okay, let's go back. Let's go back to the trailer. We'll start wrapping this thing up here.
Yeah.
Because if not, we could go on for days, evidently. All right, so we got this here. So now she's back inside. Shows just how much she doesn't. I love it. We've got she's confident. She's not even just a step in front of him. She's not even like looking back, like I haven't seen you in forever. She's just going on with her mission, just more and more. Oh, what does it mean, Woody?
You know, okay, this one shot right here.
Yeah.
I just want to say this is why I love the Toy Story films is that it gets you in this angle where the details you would just miss from like a human perspective would just be totally missed.
Yep.
I don't know. I couldn't get over just how much detail. I mean, we say this every time, like, oh, I can't believe the detail, but sometimes I just wonder, I'm like, how does it keep going every film?
Yeah.
Especially like the dust on the ridge of that.
Yeah, it's the little controls popped up here, but yeah, totally. Right in that area where that
on top of it.
What's built up here.
Yeah, because that's
wow. even just how it's like stuck to the wood, you know, having some potentially even like light moldiness that's, you know, in an antique shop, how it's built up on the cabling here. I mean, all of this, the signs, like with the because they're always like paint signs and all these old porcelain signs and everything.
Yeah, that's an amazing shot.
It is. It's just like, wow.
You know what? From what all the antique stores I've ever gone to, it's kind of like this one where it kind of seems small in front, and it always goes on forever in the back.
Yeah, yeah.
So it seems like that establishing shot of the antique store is almost like such a small portion of this vast. Well, you see how big it is,
right? And here's the antique shop. So we see this scene. We saw this in the big game trailer that came out, the sneak peek. And this is, but aren't we going to Bonnie? And then I thought this is awesome. So it seems like despair. We saw Woody go into the mail slot. I believe this is now, in my mind, he's taken off. Hope comes in the sense that you get the mail slot reopening and probably somebody like saying something out here.
Oh, I feel like this was the first time.
This is the first time
that he goes in there.
Okay. It's the mail slot opens. What did you guys think on that one?
Oh yeah, that's definitely right. The first time he sees the lamp and he's like, "Where are we going?" sort of thing. And yeah,
got it. From Disney and Pixar. So this is where everybody got excited because they can finally see Jessie, because the Jessie fans are beyond fanatic, and that's okay.
They want Jessie.
But let me just go here and talk about the fact that there is evidently no pleasing people, because here's my in Pixar defense, because it drives me crazy. All the comments are like, "There's no women in these films. Why is there only one in like the poster?" And I'm like, "Am I just getting trolled here?"
Oh, phony.
Because it's like we've got so many female characters, and they're like, Jessie's not even in it, and then people are like, "Well, she's in the trailer. She's just not in the poster." And then it keeps going on and on, back and forth about how, like, you know, oh, they want only one woman in the scene at a time, and it's like, oh my gosh. That we may not get as much Jessie as people want.
It's not her film.
But it's not her film.
And you know, and that's the thing. I mean, I don't know. I feel like she got Toy Story a tear, and that was a huge step for the character. And I feel like essentially the films were always Woody's story. So I feel like it would just, you know, That's the focus. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But we have Gabby, we have Giggles, we have Bo, we have Bonnie, we have
Trixie,
Jessie, we have Trixie.
Yeah.
I mean, the list goes on. So
I know, but it's funny just the feverish tone that some people get when they don't get enough Jessie.
that's this era.
And people, you know, people need their Jessie. I get it that they've connected with her, but the big key takeaway that we've all talked about here, that it's Woody's movie and it must continue to remain Woody's movie, or else it's not a Toy Story movie.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, that was my guess. They're like, oh, not enough Jessie in Toy Story 4. Well, we'll make a whole carousel for Pixar Pier, and everybody will be happy, right?
There we go.
Compensate, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what shot that really gave me the feels? I think you're coming up to it. Is Buzz flying? Took me back to the first. Toy
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, by the way, one thing when he says when you gotta go, you gotta go.
Yeah,
I know that line has been said a bunch, but that totally is a Jurassic Park line. Like, to me, that's what I associated with. When you gotta go, you gotta go.
But yeah, let's touch on these shots of Bonnie being sad, because that totally brings me back to my childhood too.
Oh my gosh!
It's this her face right there.
The bigger eyes, the glossiness,
looking everywhere. So here's a story. When I was probably about her age, maybe even before, maybe 3 or 4 years old, we were on a family vacation in California, and we were driving along, and my blankie, which I still have to this day, it's in my childhood drawer at home. I loved it so much. I slept with it every night for years and years and years. My blankie flew out the window. So a very similar story to Forky. And my dad actually, I have vague memories of this. My dad actually had to pull off on the highway and like go in traffic to get the blankie back. So this like totally brought me back to that, like trying to comfort, trying to find the what you lost, the thing went out the window.
Mm-hmm.
So
really,
really connected there.
Well, our son has a favorite toy, and I have bought a second one.
We have a duplicate.
We have a duplicate, but well, it's hard because
it's never going to work. The one is completely gnarled.
Yeah, it's a little kitty. It's kitty. It's about this big. It's purple. His name is Flower. It's purple. It has a pink flower in its ear.
You got her when he was how old?
2.
Yeah, 2. And so he, you know, it's like when they name things based on what they see. So she had the flower. So he's like, her name's Flower.
She has a tutu that you can take off. But he loves this. I mean, Flower sleeps with him every night.
If that thing goes missing.
That's how my nephew is with it. His name is Snuggle Puppy, and he is like he's like a blanket / puppy face thing. And they call him Snuggle. And my niece, his sister has one called Snuggle Bunny, and they're both obsessed. So totally understand.
Well, I wish Pixar would make like a cat character, like a cat stuffed him, because he only likes cats.
Well, we got Pez Cat, but that's.
But yeah, Forky to Bonnie right here is like if Leo lost the kitty, or if Noah, my nephew, lost Snuggle Puppy. It's like that's her safe.
Itsy Wolf says at the end, Bonnie will have a new dummy toy.
Oh, the dummies come home to Bonnie's house?
4.
Okay, let's go back to this trailer here. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so we've got the panic look, and the mom, and her mom is just selling it too. Just, oh, no.
Oh, it's also the first time we see the dad, too.
Okay, all right. I knew that was coming. I forgot
I was going to put that in my notes, but I didn't.
It is not the first time.
Oh.
So here we go. Here we go.
You already had this ready because you knew someone would say it.
Yeah. So.
In the background, you're right.
So hang on a second. Let me get a little. I got to pull this somewhere that I can see it at the same time I'm zooming.
Yep.
There she blows. So yeah. Now, granted, it's the first time that we're probably going to see and hear him in any type of substantial role.
Right. Not just as.
But
background gardener.
Technically, but technically, yeah, he will be an extra in this film. But it was funny because I actually had totally not thought of that too. But that was all one of those up in arms moments for people as well, where it was like, oh, people.
Yeah, no, you're right. You upped me there.
I didn't. Somebody else reminded, and I passed that along. But I thought it was very cool to see her dad, because usually we have dadless characters. But the way she's crying with even the the bottom jaw being wider, like, and everything, how it's like the open jaw, how she's sitting with her legs crossed, the protected.
It's the hand. It's the hand in between the legs like that.
Yep. They all go inward like that when they get, I mean, we've seen our son in that pose many times when something just
breaks his heart.
Yeah. It's just, that's just going to be a hard moment to watch for parents because they're going to so relate. All right, so
there he is.
Here we get Tin Toy.
That was great. Yeah.
That Tinny is now officially Toy Story canon.
Yeah, there you go.
I've always thought of him kind of existing in the same universe. He's even on my shelf, like next to all my Toy Story guys up there.
Yeah.
But now he officially is with the Toy Story gang. So
if you want to know how they get in there, we all need to, there's a certain like button. We got to press that button on pinball machines.
Pinball. Oh, I love this concept of toys hanging out in places like a vending machine, and now
that's what this reminded me of. Like when they go up in the vending machine.
Oh yeah, and they're all gambling batteries.
Yeah. So this is inside a pinball machine then.
Yeah.
I hadn't noticed that.
Yeah. So, and I only after watching it a bunch of times was like, oh, because I saw the little pull handle up top. By the way, I was so excited to see one of these like little bubble blower things.
Those are cool.
With the rings where you push the button and it goes up. All right, so we've got Franklin the Eagle from
Small Fry.
Small Fry, which is super cool. Now, Dan, do you know of these characters here? I think somebody was saying these are a Star Wars character, somebody Walrus or something.
Oh, that's the vintage Walrus Man Kenner action figure from the original Star Wars.
I knew you'd know.
And Ben Kenobi.
Oh, is that? Oh,
yeah,
all
with
right.
the vinyl cape. Yep.
With the vinyl cape, I love it.
Wow, they put in some Star Wars and Toy Story. I had not noticed that.
Yeah.
Because this is the first Toy Story film to come out with Star Wars
under the Disney umbrella,
under the banner.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and then people were also saying, and I noticed this too, this is way too familiar to be not at one of the country bear jamborees.
I don't think so.
But he's got like the broken string. Yeah, I feel like he's
got an homage though.
It's got to be an homage at some level. Probably not one of the original, but this the way that face is and everything. That's got to be something.
I still can't believe that Star Wars vintage figures are on Toy Story.
Are you going to be all right?
I'm cool.
All right, good. And you can follow Dan's other channel, Star Wars Collection.
Right.
And that's a real channel, right?
I mean, it's an Instagram page.
It's an Instagram. It's Star Wars with a Z.
Correct. Thanks for the plug.
No problem. Star Wars with a Z collection. So this is the pull handle for the pinball machine.
There you go. You're right. That's it.
Yeah. So she's showing, like this like broad view here. I love all the aging of this up here, the crackled paint.
You know what this film is going to make me do besides cry?
Make you want to go to a carnival and
It's going to make me want to eat carny food, which is my favorite food of all time, besides Mexican food.
Okay, I'm going to stop this for a quick second because here's a story. No joke, there have been legitimate times that we've been driving by a carnival, and they usually have like a parking cost or something like that in order to get in.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, pull over. And I have to like literally like hop a curb or go pull in some other business. She will get out.
I will
run over a barrier because she just wants to run in and get a funnel cake or
cotton candy, hot dog, lemonade.
Oh, the fresh squeezed lemonade at carnivals, classic.
Yes.
Yeah. It's my favorite food, but like I said, besides Mexican, because Mexican's probably my favorite. But,
well, yeah.
But
Qdoba, if you're listening. It's at least twice a week.
I'm legit. Well, it's probably more than that. It's probably like every other day. Today was like the first day in like not 3 days that I didn't eat it.
Yeah.
But I'm single-handedly keeping Qdoba in business in Michigan.
You guys got me hooked on that place.
Wait, that's right. The last time you were in town, we ate there.
We took you there.
I was like, you guys, it was like a whole new world. I'm like completely. I was like, forget Chipotle. I got Qdoba now, man.
It's because of the queso.
I like the chicken at Chipotle better, but the queso is outstanding.
Yeah. It's because it's
Qdoba.
Vegas.
Chipotle is probably better for you because it's like real cheese, but Qdoba I don't think is real cheese, but it's delicious. It's so good. There's peppers in it.
We definitely used to go to Qdoba's when I was in Vegas, but I did not. We don't have them here, but I've had them quite a bit. It is good.
Oh, man. Dan, I think there's one in Connecticut. I'll look it up for you. I'll text it to you.
Please do.
John Fitzgerald, Cosmo, Magda, John, they're all talking about the carnival aspect of it.
Carnival food is like the best.
Yeah, next time I'm heading to a carnival, I'm joining you guys.
Can I tell you the strangest things I've ever gotten at a carnival?
Yes, please.
Everyone's probably already heard of this, but it was crazy for me to go for. It was called the Bullseye Burger, I believe, and it's
very Toy Story themed.
And it was I guess so. It was a glazed donut as the bun.
Oh.
Yeah, this is all the rage.
Yeah, I know they are, but not like a lot of people have heard it. They're like, what? So it's a glazed donut. They cut it in half. They kind of sear it on the grill. And then it was barbecue bacon cheeseburger on the donut. So you get that sweet, savory, almost like a McGriddle type effect.
Mm-hmm.
Like it makes a lot of people want to throw up thinking about it. But it was like a once in a every 5-year type of thing. It was so good, but you do not feel good after.
Oh, I could imagine because your sugar, your
right
salt.
But it's like classic carnival food where it's like
where it's disastrous
anywhere else.
Correct.
Oh, and when I go to these carnival things, I'm like, okay, it has to be pink cotton candy, not the blue.
Yeah,
the blue's gross. But
she's very passionate about the pink.
I will only do the blue Slurpee, which is weird. No, it has to be pink cotton candy, and you have to get the monster bag, which I believe is like $15 to $20, depending on what carnival it is.
But it's like five.
It's literally, it's like as tall as I am, and I'm 5'7". It is like monster. Like it's a monster bag.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
There's one coming up here soon.
I am super
in June.
You're right.
Yeah, they always hit in my area in June too.
Yeah, for sure. So Giovanni, when you're back in town next, let us know. We'll hit up a carnival.
We'll go. I'll go to a carnival because that's the only place you can find any shaved ice ever. That's
you're right.
You can't find that anywhere. Michigan,
look up.
Impossible.
What about you're in LA? What about like Rita's or what's Joe's Ice?
There's Joe's Ice and Rita's Italian Ice. Look it up.
Oh, Rita's is great.
I know, but there's something special about
it's different. I know.
$8 for a cup of shaved ice and some at a carnival.
And some food coloring goo.
Food coloring, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and in Michigan too, the Kona Ice Truck. He goes it's like a food truck that he just goes around and shaves it right there for you. Yeah, so now I'm officially hungry. Other people are. Itsy Wolf is saying I love those bullseye burgers. So Dan, you're in good company, and that's in all caps. Love those. We've got favorite food being Panera. Guilty as charged. Love Panera.
So with you guys, jeez Louise.
Well, yeah, that's true.
When I watch the carnival scene, the establishing shots are going to need to focus in on some of the food, and I will think of you, Julie.
Oh, well,
there's got to be some shots of like some classic, someone eating cotton candy or something.
Ooh, okay. Did you see this question that just came in from Ashley?
Oh, no.
What's better, carnival food or Disney food? I'll say Disney because we'd go to Disney World more than Land.
Yeah, we've only been to Disneyland once.
So what's better? What do you guys think?
Okay. Now I will say this. The Disneyland cotton candy was amazing.
Yeah.
Do you remember how like crazy I was? We were at Disneyland for 2 days.
Yeah.
And I made sure I was like, we have to we have to make sure we have to get it because they sold it outside one day.
Like what do they call it?
And then I got it.
Not at the confectionery.
And then I got it in Main Street.
Yeah.
I got it in Main Street. But we bought like 2 extra bags for our travel because we were traveling from Anaheim up to San Francisco. It's like 2 giant bags of cotton candy. Because
that's when she fell asleep holding Rex in the front seat.
Yeah. The Disney World cotton candy is pink, but it tastes raspberries. No, I just want pink sugar.
Very passionate.
Yes, I am.
So, okay, Giovanni, what do you think? Which is better?
I'm going park food. I love Disney park food.
Okay, all right.
Sucker, and I feel like they're constantly adding great things. I mean, even with Pixar Pier, we got Num Num cookies and we got Bing Bongs, the slushies they have there. Beautiful.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Did you see the Num Num cookies are now at Disney World?
Yeah.
They're in the spot right as you're approaching Toy Story Land and where the old Pixar place used to be.
I know. It was so bummed. I was just there in August and I'm like, I just wanted to try one, but it wasn't open yet.
There's glow-in-the-dark cotton candy at Disney parks, says Amanda.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know this.
And
by the way, is this Amanda K? Is this Amanda Cubits?
And there's a giant one at Epcot right now because of the flower.
Oh, the
thing.
Flower and Garden Festival?
It's $15, but it's like this. It's in Japan. Have you guys seen pictures of this?
No.
It's on the Disney Instagram food. Huh.
So
it looks delicious.
So I got to go with the park food only strictly because Carnival food hits it where it feels the best because it's deep fried, it's hot dogs, it's sugar, it's lemonade. But you're right, the lemonade is like the best. But you got to go with the parks just because of the variety. They went out with variety for me because I eat a little bit of a lot of things. I don't eat like a big meal. I want like snackers.
Yeah, but see, you know how I eat. I find something I like and I will eat that morning, noon, and night every day.
Yeah.
Well, granted, I usually only eat one meal a day, and then a lot of snacks, but like I could eat that one meal every day for the rest of my life.
You pretty much do.
I do.
Qdoba and ramen noodles.
Yeah. Yeah, ramen and Qdoba.
Holy cow, I am eating a snack after this.
And jelly beans right now.
Well, tis the season. All right.
After that little food talk.
Yeah, let's go. So here we go, Giggle McDimples jumping up. And yeah, look how tiny Giggle is here.
Yeah, she's tiny.
So
question.
Yes.
Going back just for a second to the inside the pinball machine, did you get vibes of like the discarded toys? Like
from Small Fry?
Like the Small Fry scene where they're like abandoned?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to say that I definitely got those vibes because they've kind of tackled that before, so it'll be interesting to see.
Well, I take it as more of like these aren't abandoned. These are I guess they are abandoned because they're in an antique shop. Somebody dropped them off.
Mm-hmm.
But it's almost like they're already friends, more like what Giovanni was talking about in Toy Story 3 with the vending machine. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't know where to like, it's probably somewhere in between there.
Yeah, I was going to say a little combination.
Yeah. So, okay, now we go back. She's saying we assume, as we've now talked about, that we think this is probably when she's leaving.
Mm-hmm.
She gives him the nod. Ugh. Okay, obviously a different scene. We've got more of a night, more of a morning, but Woody's like, buddy! She's running into Prairie View restaurants.
Into her RV.
That's what I meant. Sorry. Grand Basin, looks like where they're heading. Love the classic Woody run of all the crazy.
I love that Woody run. There is Woody
man. How do you that's crazy. And Forky, they did a great job figuring out how to make him move too. He's kind of slapping those dolphin flippers or the seal flippers. But yeah, here you go, Dan.
This is a great show.
The buzz.
We're coming up to the scene that everyone
the controversial Andy shot.
Yeah. All right. So get a good look, people.
I don't know about you guys. I teared up like a baby when I saw this. And then people on Twitter, then I went to the Twitter sphere, and that's when it all went dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. But before we go off of this and we start talking.
I love his haircut.
This is like a kid's haircut, and it needs to be cut. That's awesome. Yeah. This is the most variance I think they've had in hair on a human, where it looks like it's
light.
Yes. Just super cool. Okay. We're going to go back here. I'm going to point out a few things. The way his eyes kind of almost look like he has eyeliner on, the enhanced of the freckles.
I like him. I like the redesign.
The slimmed jawline, where it's a little bit slimmed down. So now the question is where in the storyline is this? Like what element, what point?
To me, he looks like 11.
Yeah, and it's also like hard to gauge. Like, what age did Andy stop playing with the toys? We're talking like end of Toy Story 2 up to what point of age were they really trapped in stuck in that toy box, just sitting there?
Right.
13 to 14.
Probably too old.
You think so?
Yeah.
He looks like 9 to 11 in that shot to me.
Yeah, I don't know. But so the redesign, what do we think overall? What do you guys think in the chat? So Giovanni, you said you were pleased with it, right?
I was, honestly. It's like the same thing they did with Tony and Incredibles, and granted, that is a very minor character compared to a iconic
Andy.
character at this point.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you look. I mean, I don't know. You have the rig they used in like Toy Story 3 was a pretty updated model of original Andy, and that quick shot, quick shots in the beginning of like the handheld camera stuff. But again, this didn't bother me. Like seeing it at first glance, I feel like if I didn't see it at first glance, it's not going to bother me later on. I'm just not one of those people who, as they look at it longer and longer, I'm just going to be happy that we're going to have Andy scenes, that is going to just enrich the story. I don't know. I guess I'm not a person who gets bothered by small, like even same thing with the bow redesign.
I know.
Oh, the bow redesign had to happen.
Yeah.
If you look at the old bow now,
Yeah.
it does not hold up. You would be like, where does this toy even possibly fit into this universe?
I love the new bow redesign.
Yes.
I think it was smart the way they did it.
And necessary.
Absolutely. Especially with how many emotional scenes you'd be having. Could you imagine that? Just the two curves with the random there just would be no emotion there. It'd be hard to convey. So
right.
I'm totally open for it. Again, I can't imagine there's gonna be so many Andy scenes. Anyway.
I think that's gonna be it.
Yeah.
Basically.
So yeah,
I'm interested to get Dan's take because he was not the biggest fan of the Tony Reidinger element. So since this is, as Giovanni pointed out, such a bigger character, what are your thoughts on this one?
I don't even know if I can even open this can of worms right now.
Uh-oh.
Like, I'll try to cut myself off, but I do have some thoughts.
Okay.
I mean, should I go for it?
Well, yeah, that's why we're here.
That's why we're here. We're chatting.
Okay. Well, Giovanni, I am the type that bothers me. So
I understand. No, yeah.
Okay.
No judgment.
Okay.
This is a safe space.
There's a disconnect when I see it's almost like recasting a character in a live action film where, for example, like Batman Begins to The Dark Knight Rises, or The Dark Knight, or whatever, or and Iron Man to War Machine. So there's that disconnect for me when a character does look so different. It's hard for me to feel like it's the same character going through the same arc. For me, it's just like I said, there's a disconnect. That's the best word I can use. The next thing is I know that they can update models and keep the essence there. I've seen them do it before. I feel like when you see, for example, the family in The Incredibles, you compare their models. Yes, they're vastly improved, but the essence is they look and they feel and they talk like they always did. With improvements, obviously, the emotions are conveyed better and better rigs and all that, but the essence is still there. Same with Rex, any of the Toy Story guys, even to Buzz and Woody, they are vastly improved compared to the first Toy Story. But you see Woody and you're like, that's Woody. Like, very minimal as far as the looks concerned. Yeah. It's more just gotten more detailed. And go for it, TJ.
I was just going to say there's a pretty similar sentiment in the forum in the chat, that they're basically saying that they respect that they have to upgrade these things or else it's too much of a what's going on here. But at the same time, it's also like the only part that has bothered me on it, and I shouldn't even say bothered, but has been like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Is his facial structure is totally different.
It is.
His face is
Andy?
Yeah.
Andy has a very square jaw. And in fact, it's almost like lower down below his chin in like the second one even. And in this one, it is almost like even like this part is like full shaved in. He is a full rounded down to a point chin. That is the only part that I was like, wait a minute, his facial structure is so different. Now I looked at when he gets a little older in Toy Story 3 when he's giving away the toys to kind of compare those. And it's even more like, I feel like it's even more built out a little bit here. And I know that as kids grow, they kind of go in and then come back out a little bit. But I don't know. I felt like that part might have been a little too much.
For me, it's like I know that they can improve models without changing the entire look of the character. I've seen them do it before. And so if you look in Toy Story 3, Bo's in the background. She's an upgraded model of the original look of Bo. So they have done it before, and she's in the back, the flashbacks. She looks like the original Bo. And Andy has already changed from Toy Story 1 to Toy Story 2. They're very similar, but then Toy Story 3 was obviously 10 years later, and so he had changed a little bit, but I still feel like it was closer than this is. I got past the Toy Story 3 one because it was more along the lines of upgrading the detail rather than changing the look. And so we've already had a kind of a more modern day take on Andy. I don't think that there was a need to upgrade him once again. Like, it's not like they went from 1995 Andy to 2019 Andy. They recently redid him, and so to have like 4 different Andys, I feel like they could have just gotten. I want to feel close to Andy because that's so much of the heart of these movies, and I connected so much to him as a kid. Like I thought I was Andy. I would play with my toys like Andy. I would recreate things like Andy, and it just kind of bums me out to see him so different again. Just to have, I've already went through the disconnect with the Toy Story 3 one where I had to get used to this new model, and now to have that happen again, I'm like, oh, just a little consistency, please. Unless he's a little older. That's the only way I could justify it.
And I think it is. I think he's aged up a little bit because his room's a little different. He's playing with Jessie now in this.
I think he's got 2 people.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
But then I wonder, but then what you're saying, I try to say or justify it to myself in universe, saying, oh, he's a little older. But then I also go along with what Giovanni was saying, like how long could you be? How old would you be still playing like that? You know?
Right. So yeah, so we don't know how far off it is, but if there's one thing, Dan, I would say that if you always wanted to be Andy, you should be thrilled, because I think this version of Andy looks a lot way more like you than the other one did. No, you're getting closer now.
And as far as Bo's concerned, the thing that bothers me the most there, I just rewatched kind of her scenes from the first 2 films, especially like the opening scene in Toy Story. Her skirt was it never seemed to me that it was meant to be fabric. It was always meant to me, it always was like part of the vinyl or the porcelain or whatever it was. It always seemed hard. It didn't ever seem like they were trying to go for a fabric or a cloth. And even in Toy Story 3 with the upgraded model in the background, she has that like the full, dome shaped skirt, and to see it kind of be flattened out a bit and to drape or to fall down like normal cloth, again, there's a disconnect. It's so vastly different than the Bo from the first film that it's hard to think that this is the same character, even though, yeah, you look at her, you say, yeah, that's Bo on the surface because of her bonnet and her clothes on the surface, but there's so many differences that it's hard to think of her as the same character for me. That's my soapbox. It's just hard for me personally. I'm sure a lot of people have no problems with it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have one with Bo, but we probably should have, if anything, more of a problem with it, just because of the fact that she's even more of a major character in this than Andy will be. Andy's probably going to get 2 minutes of screen time.
I don't even think that. I think it's going to be just a quick couple seconds. I don't think we're going to hear him talk. I just think it's going to be that little scene.
Yeah.
I just feel like if Bo, they could have kept her structure, like I said, kind of like her material, and improved her facial expression so they can convey that emotion if they needed to, but kept the spirit of what her original material seems to be in the first films.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right, so we can actually wrap this thing up. Let's just look at the last part of the trailer, which is actually going to be where we get to talk about and see Duke Kaboom a little bit more here.
Kaboom!
You guys see this again?
Oh, and one more thought. Today when I was with my 5-year-old nephew, almost 6, and my 9-year-old niece, when we were watching, because we were watching it over and over again. They're obsessed. Like even they mentioned it. I didn't even say anything, and they asked me why Andy looks so different. And so that's coming from like a 5-year-old. So it is quite apparent, I think.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, Duke, I'm glad that they kept him very minimal in this, because I think he's going to be a standout.
Yeah. All right, so we've got Mr. Kaboom. For a lot of the other people that thought we had too much Ducky and Bunny in the previous trailers, they should be pleased that we're only getting a smaller amount. But we get Duke Kaboom and an awesome close-up of him. Very, very much that action hero with the appendages and how they move.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh god, the head snapping to the side.
Heads. And the one goes all the way behind him.
Yeah, you even get like the little, here's like the dust particle.
Yeah,
you know I gotta talk about my particles. And look at this hair on the floors. But yeah, you get the particle, and the particle is coming in and out of focus as they're changing the rack focusing here. Awesome. So he grabs Forky. They go off running. Don't let him leave. Oh.
So are these all still that same sequence from the earlier on in the trailer?
Has to be.
That's a lot of shots from that one sequence of them being chased around.
Yeah. So he's got him under his arm. He's got his arms. We've got.
Oh, there it is.
Here's
there's that shot.
Here's the castaway moment. All they need to do is kiss.
Yeah.
Okay, and then here's Andy. And we've got the fireworks. I love Giovanni's thoughts as far as that it's like, here's the distraction for if there is like the rescue scene.
Boom.
And his big thing, go ahead, sorry.
I think, because you know how it talks about in kind of his character description that he's never performed stunts like his commercial.
Oh, right.
He's going to have an arc where he finally gets to do a big stunt.
There you go.
And that's going to be it.
So is this like they're going outside now and this is still inside, yeah.
Inside it's just crystal, like a chandelier.
Holy cow, I love that with all the reflections like of the rainbows and everything that are coming off of the chandelier. Oh, gorgeous. Oh, because everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah, this is what you wrote on Facebook, Giovanni.
Oh, right, yeah.
What did you write? What did you write for this part?
All the people who are like, oh, what? We don't need another film, this and that. I was like, just take Forky's advice. Everything's going to be okay.
Oh, that's genius.
It's like a nice little send-off. People watching the trailer, hey, it's going to be fine.
Oh, I hadn't thought of it like that. You're right there.
And can we look at
this?
The gorgeous, not only the angle that is chosen here, but the gorgeousness of the textures, how you can see every last, like...
He's in Bonnie's backpack.
Yeah, that's at the beginning, I would assume.
Right.
They're at school.
Yeah, it's just so awesome.
Yeah,
so awesome.
Yeah, you could see the material of his face probably better than we've ever seen before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we did it, guys.
We did. I'll save my one other Easter egg that I had, or at least one of the other Easter eggs of the where I was mentioning the two directors of photography, Jean-Claude Kalash and Steve Kim, or not?
Unless I mention them first.
Yeah, go ahead. It wasn't Steve. Why am I forgetting this now? Patrick. There we go. I'll save that for that other one. Yeah, Patrick Lynn.
I had some too, but I'm gonna let you do your Easter egg video and not say them here.
Okay. Well, I only have I think 2 more, but you didn't have anything with them, with Patrick Lynn and that.
No.
Oh, there's okay, yeah.
There's a couple of them.
Yeah, we got a couple more. I've got at least 4 more.
Nice.
So we shall talk about more of them soon. If you guys want to talk about more of this particular trailer, of course, we have our thread going in the Pixar Post forum. You can just go to pixarpost.com, click on the forum button, and we'll have more information out there. I'm going to close this and see what else. Oh, hey, JP and Beyond. So is it Jonathan that's joining, or is it Jesse that joined in the last minutes here? But so yeah, if you want to talk about more of it, we've got a thread that's already going about this particular trailer. You can go there and just look for that. And then also there's going to be an Easter egg thread that I'm going to have after I have all of these and do the video. But any final thoughts that you guys has had about the trailer? Any other burning questions that you want to talk about? We're at exactly 2 hours right now from when we started this.
Holy Toledo! Oh my gosh.
2 hours to talk about 2 minutes. Dan wondered how we were going to do it. We've talked an hour over a minute and a half. So we're trending about an hour a minute. So yeah, any last burning thoughts or questions that you guys had?
I'll let Gio take the stage. I've said way too much.
I don't know. I'm just really excited. I really hope this trailer has, I don't want to say, just made people feel more comfortable, more, I guess, ready for the film. Again, I know there's been a lot of people just wondering, oh, it was a perfect ending. I just feel, I think it did the job really well.
I agree.
So, so Giovanni, before we kind of wrap up your thoughts, is there any chance you're going to be back in town a little bit before the movie comes out in theaters so we can go to another early press screening and get our review out early?
Hey, I will be there.
On the correct day.
On the correct day, of course. Oh my gosh.
Look, that was one time for Cars 3, okay?
And you redeemed yourself with Incredibles 2, so it's okay.
I didn't really redeem myself with it. I was just there at the wrong day. I took Giovanni to the Cars 3. Well, I was supposed to take Giovanni to the Cars 3 early press screening, and we went the day after. Yeah, one of my not so proud moments.
Oh, someone mentions Combat Carl, which we didn't touch on because he was not shown in the trailer, but we know of him. In fact, we know different versions of him will be in the film in different outfits, just like the classic G.I. Joes.
Yeah.
But they're keeping that under wraps for now. So that will
be absolutely. Thanks for covering on that one for sure. Yeah, so it was Jonathan that came in. So hey, Jonathan. So anyways, I think that about wraps it up, right? All right. If anybody needs any great information regarding their Pixar collection or Pixar collections, be sure to visit danthepixarfan.com. Right, Dan?
Yes, thank you.
Or if you would like to view some more about Star Wars, you can always go to on Instagram, Star Wars with a Z collection. Giovanni, they can look for your great work on Netflix by watching Ask the Storybots or Storybots. Correct?
That's correct.
That's correct. Your hard work there. And you can look for the unibrowed character. As you said. That's not Bo, is it?
Oh no, the character with unibrow?
Yeah, who is that?
Boop.
Boop. I was like, I'm missing letters. Boop. There we go.
Yep. No, yeah, that's
I got Bo on the brain. So anyways, and of course, for everybody else in the chat, thank you for joining along. Ashley wanted to know if we're going to D23. That's still up in the air for us at this point. Dan, how about you?
I requested those days off from work. They're in my PTO. I just need to cave and buy the tickets and buy the plane tickets, but I'm mostly in. So
okay, mostly. So you're like,
well, it's slotted. I just need to fork out the cash monies.
That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Okay, Giovanni, how about you?
Yeah, I'm going.
Okay,
I'll be there. So yeah, blast.
I presume Ashley will be there again. No way she's not going again.
Right.
One of us needs to go.
Yeah, it needs. I last time I said that I was going to make it. I went to the 2015 one where I met Giovanni, in person, and then the last one I was like so set on going, it didn't happen, and I said next one, 100% going, and I'm just gonna stick with that because there's no way I can miss 2 in a row.
Okay, all right, fantastic. If we go, it would be our first. And it would be the first time that Dan and I could ever meet in person, or if Julie goes, that they can meet in person.
6 years now. Speaking of when you guys met in Monsters University timeframe, the April of 2000,
like when we met you too,
was the exact same time we met online too. So 6 years yet, and for everyone in the chat, we still have not met in person. So
and look, we're all such good friends.
I know. Oh, thanks to the internet. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, there we go. That's why that's why the gang can all split up. They can just have YouTube Hangouts.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the ending scene of Toy Story 4 there.
All right. Well, goodbye to everybody in the chat. Thank you again for coming on and hanging out with us for 2 hours to talk about this trailer. Woo. Hopefully we had some fun along the way. And until next time, be sure to stay tuned to PixarPost.com all week for the latest Pixar news.